Hello everyone and welcome to 3SB Prediction Center. Here we look at sports and try to predict the weekly outcomes. This week we're going to be doing football.
Yeah.
So the NFL season is starting Thursday night, tomorrow night, with the New England Patriots facing off against the Steelers. And so let's have your guys' predictions.
Well, I think the Patriots are going to take it right away. Tom Brady's back with a vengeance. I don't think Steelers have much of a chance. Patriots are going to take it.
All right, Mike, what do you think?
Steelers have a really garbage defense. Really not the same as they were
Never thought you'd say that.
3 years ago around. So they got Bud Dupree in the draft, but I don't think he's going to do anything until his second year or third year. So
Yeah, draft picks usually don't bear fruit till later.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think it's ironic because with this whole Deflategate and now new Spygate allegations coming out,
Yeah.
the Patriots should change their name to the New England Cheaters, and this would be a game of the Cheaters playing the Steelers.
Yeah.
Steelers meaning actual steal and not theft. But besides the point, I think the Cheaters are going to win this game just based on the fact that Brady has something to prove to the NFL, and it's a primetime game, and he tends to show up in primetime moments. Plus, I'm sure Bill Belichick filmed the practice of the Steelers, so I think they got this in the bag.
All right, so our first Sunday game, we got the Packers at the Bears. What do you guys got?
In this game, I'd actually have to go with the Packers, regardless of their receiving core. The Bears are just that bad.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bears are pretty garbage, and they're in a pretty garbage city. So.
You're gonna knock Chicago like that? I mean, of
Chicago
course.
hater, but he only hates the Hawks, but it resonates to every other team there
Yeah.
for some reason
Yeah.
because he's jealous. Cause
I hate the Cubs.
We'll get into that when we go.
Nobody likes the Cubs, but
I like the Cubs.
I think we're all going Packers in the first game of.
Yeah, easily. I'm not gonna bother saying it. It's
Aaron
Packers.
Rodgers is gonna kill them.
Yeah.
Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers is he's
Yeah.
the best
Right,
quarterback.
you heard it here first, folks. Anyway, the next matchup is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Houston Texans. I kind of torn on this one because both teams are pretty evenly matched, except for the fact that Arian Foster's injured, and the Texans really don't have a quarterback quite as good as Alex Smith, and that's not saying much. So I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs on this one just because of Jamal Charles and the factor he can play in the game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Chiefs just signed J-Mac, Eagles, so I gotta go with my boy Andy Reid too, and J.J. Watt's good, but that's all they got in my eyes. So Chiefs 100%.
What do you think, Mike?
I think Chiefs got it. I think that their defense is just too overpowering. They have Justin Houston, Tom Bahali. I don't know how their O-line is going to take that into consideration, and I think Jamal Charles is going to run wild on that.
Well, Coach Mike has spoken for the Chiefs. So we've all said Chiefs on this one. So
Yeah.
far, I think we've all agreed on every single
Yeah.
prediction. Let's see what happens in the next game.
Next up, we got the New York Jets versus the Cleveland Browns in New York. What do you guys got?
I'm going to go with the Jets just because Darrelle Revis is hot off a Super Bowl championship, and I think he wants to make a big splash on his return to the Jets.
Michael?
It's the Browns. So, I mean, can't really expect much, especially since they lost Josh Gordon, Jordan Cameron, and even though they have a good defense, I know you're going to disagree with me on that, they do have a good defense, but their offense is just god-awful.
Yeah, I'm going with the Jets too. I mean, all around, minus a quarterback, they have a pretty solid team. New coach, Darrelle Revis is back with Cromartie. Crazy secondary. You gotta take the Jets for this one.
Jets fly high this week. All right, so now we come to my favorite game of this first Sunday of football. It's the Indianapolis Colts versus the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. I don't think home field advantage ever applies to the Buffalo Bills. I think Andrew Luck is going to have a lot of fun testing his new receivers and his new running back, Frank Gore. And I think they're going to easily handle the Bills. Probably not by a large score, just because of the new defense, but they're definitely going to take this game.
I'm going to take the Colts too. I think Andrew Luck is just too strong, but Bills do have my boy Shady. So I think it might be a bit closer than he's saying, but I think Colts are going to take it either way.
I think you guys are underestimating the Bills' defense. I think that they have one of the best...
We wouldn't be the first people to do that.
They have one of the best front sevens in the league, definitely. With Marcel Darius, Mario Williams, I think? Yeah,
Yes.
Mario Williams.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, their defense is top notch, one of the best in the league, and I think that they're underrated. With that being said, I think the Colts still win.
All right, so everybody's going Colts. Hopefully the Lucky Horseshoe does something for us week 1.
Yeah. Next matchup, we got Dolphins at Washington. I gotta take the Dolphins on this one, just purely because I think the Redskins absolutely suck. Eagles fan, obviously. And Dolphins have a pretty well-rounded team, honestly. So I'm taking the Dolphins.
I'm going to buck the trend here and say that Kirk Cousins has one of the greatest starts of all time. He's throwing a PG, former Colt. So I'm going to have to use my bias here and go against the Dolphins just because, honestly, Kong Su, you held out on the Colts and you're going to get what's coming to you. I think he gets embarrassed in week 1.
Yeah, well, Sue also held out on the Raiders. So, I mean, I still pick the Dolphins to win this game. The Redskins are absolutely garbage besides Ryan Kerrigan, so Dolphins it is.
All right. You heard it here. All right, so this is the Battle of the Cats. The next game this Sunday afternoon is going to be the Panthers versus the Jaguars. It's not quite a battle of the irrelevance because Carolina did win their division, but the Jags aren't going to put up a fight. I think Carolina's going to easily win this game, probably 17-10. Pretty low scoring, but definitely going to be a snooze fest for Carolina.
Yeah, I agree. Carolina is going to take it. Both not that great a team. Jaguars are on another level of bad, but Carolina is right below mediocre. They're going to take it, but a big-time snoozer. Big time.
I think it's going to be a defensive battle, and I know you guys are going to disagree, but Jaguars are on the rise. They've shown a lot in preseason, and I believe that they are improving, but I still think Panthers with Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis, they're going to end up winning this game.
Just remember one thing. The 0-16 Lions went 4-0 in preseason. Just remember that on the rise preseason, doing well. Just remember that. Next matchup, we got the Seahawks at the Rams. What do you guys got on this one?
I'm going to go with the obvious choice of the Seahawks, although I'm pretty sure that this is going to be closer than people would think because the Seahawks are not really a super high-scoring team anyway. But, I give the Seahawks the edge just because their quarterback and their offense in general works better, and their defense it's their defense. So, Seahawks.
Yeah, this is a big-time trap game for the Seahawks. I think that many people underestimate the Rams, and their front four is definitely one of the best in the league. I know I said that like 10 times, but they do have a great defense, and I think that Seahawks still come out on top, but in a close one.
Probably I got Seahawks too. I think the Rams do have a better team than people think they do. They're well coached, but for some reason they never do well. They got Nick Foles, which obviously biasness again. Great quarterback. See how he does in St. Louis, and but yeah, I think Seahawks do take it. Even though they don't have Cam Chancellor, which could be a big one. Nick Foles does have a big arm, go deep. Davon Austin's a fast guy, but I'm still taking the Seahawks.
All right, so the next matchup this Sunday is the Arizona Cardinals versus the New Orleans Saints in Arizona. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals on this one because Bruce Arians is a great coach. The Cardinals really impressed a lot of people last year. Unfortunately, in the playoffs, they had some injuries that ended up costing them the game against Carolina. But I don't think the Saints have enough gas in the tank to beat these Cardinals.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty close one. I don't know why. Just something about the Saints. I think that they're going to have a really, really good year, like a 12-4 season. But I think one of those 4 losses is going to come from the Cards.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals on this one too. I think Drew Brees is going to have a great year. They're going to come back, the Saints. But they are missing Jarius Byrd for the first couple of weeks. I think that's going to be a big blow. I take Cardinals on this one. If it was in New Orleans, I'd give it to the Saints. But because they're away from home, I'm giving it to the Cardinals. Cardinals take this one.
Well, we're all taking Cardinals, but let's see if the Saints can undo the Aints-style season they had last season and try to go for that division title, which shouldn't be too hard.
Next matchup, we got Lions at Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one. I think the Bolts take it. Lions, in my opinion, have a bit of an overrated defense. Stafford's good. Megatron's good. Can't name you many other people on that offense. So that's the sole reason why I'm taking Chargers over the Lions.
How about you, Mike? What do you think?
Probably going to go with the Chargers. I'm going to have to say that the heat is going to be a big factor like it was last year against Seattle. where no one was really prepared for that, especially since the Lions play in an indoor stadium up north.
Dome factor.
Yeah, and so I think the Chargers are going to take it in a close one. I don't think that the defense is overrated, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stop the Chargers.
Well, if the Chargers are wearing their powder blues, this would make it a powder blue battle. And I think Phillip Rivers is a model of consistency at quarterback. I don't think a lot of people appreciate how great he is at his position because of his playoff falters. But I would go with the Chargers on this one on opening day in San Diego. I think it's going to be a great day for everybody involved. All right, so next game is the debut of probably this generation's franchise quarterbacks. Unfortunately, they play for two terrible teams. The Titans versus the Buccaneers, Mariota versus Winston. I'm going to go with the Titans taking this game. I don't like saying this because they're a team in the Colts division, but I think Mariota just has this athleticism about him, and I feel like both teams are going to make a lot of rookie mistakes on offense, which is not uncommon for rookie seasons. They're probably going to have a lot of learning to do, but I just think whichever quarterback trips first is going to lose this game, and I just think Winston is going to, similar to his last college game, he's going to trip, and I think the Buccaneers lose it late. What do you guys think?
I disagree, actually. I think that in the end, it's going to come down to Jameis versus the Titans defense and Marcus versus the Bucs defense, and I do not see Marcus Mariota doing anything against that defense. He might throw for a little bit, but that front seven is really good, especially with Levante David and Gerald McCoy. Those are two of the best in the game, so I really don't see them doing anything.
So you're thinking like 3-0 overtime game?
Well, maybe a bit high scoring than that, maybe like, I don't know, 17-10.
All right. What do you think?
I'm kind of torn because I love Mariota. I was really hoping the Eagles would draft him this year, but I'm gonna go with the Bucs just solely because I feel like overall they got a better team, and I feel that both quarterbacks, like you said, will make tons of mistakes probably in this game, maybe 2-3 interceptions each. But I just feel like the Bucs do have an overall better team, and they're gonna probably take it in a very close game.
Next, we got the Bengals versus my Raiders. And what do you guys think about this match?
I think Bengals take it hands down, no contest. I think Andy Dalton and AJ Green rip them to shreds. And that's not me saying because of him. I truly do believe that the Raiders absolutely suck.
I got one question. Who is the Raiders quarterback?
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. All right, now here's what I'm going to say. The Colts handled the Bengals easily last year. I'm kind of thinking the Bengals aren't motivated enough for this debut. I think they're going to take the Raiders for granted, and it's going to bite them. The Raiders are bad, but the Bengals might just be worse. So I give the Raiders the win in Week 1.
I completely agree with you. Just I think
bias here.
I think the Raiders could win this in a close one because there is something called the Andy Dalton factor. Yeah. You never know which Dalton will show up.
Usually only applies to playoff games, and the Raiders won 16 straight and 10 in a row last year.
That's last year. And there's one factor, and his name is Khalil Mack, my boy,
that is true.
And he is a stud. And
MacBook Pro.
Not yet. Big Mac attack.
Big Mac.
And he's my boy, and I think that he's going to come up with a really clutch forced fumble off a pass rush, beating old Andrew Whitworth, and it's going to be over from then.
All right, well, let's see what happens down there in the in Old Town.
The black hole.
This Sunday.
Of careers.
All right, so the next matchup is the Broncos hosting the Ravens, and let me preface this by saying I'm a massive Peyton Manning fan. I've loved him for many years with the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm kind of happy he left when he did because he gave us the greatest gift ever. But that being said, I think the Broncos' defense has gotten worse with the departure of Knighton. They got some receiving issues. Manning, last season he ended it with that injury that was apparently not disclosed. So I don't know if I'm sure he'll come back in full form. But I'm wondering if the rest of the team around him will be as good as it was last year. So I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one just because the Ravens are a consistently good team, and they tend to perform best against better teams. What do you guys think?
I completely agree. I think the Ravens are not only going to win this game, but I said it from last year that they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. They are one of the most...
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Bet the farm. What do you think, Dave?
I'm kind of torn. I don't see the Broncos losing, but I see the Ravens winning. But I'm going to take the Broncos just because I feel Peyton's got something to prove. I feel like he's got a lot left in the tank, and I really do believe that he wants to beat Eli in the Super Bowl ring race. So I think Payton's going to take this one. Broncos win in a close one, though.
You're my boy P, but Ravens it is.
Next up, we have my favorite matchup of the week. We got my beloved Cowboys versus my beloved Giants. I hate both teams with an undisclosed amount of passion, and I really hope something happens and the game is a loss for both of them. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the Cowboys just because I really feel like the Giants are like one of those bottom feeder teams this year. Another like 0-6. Yeah, scraping the bottom of the barrel. 0-6 team to start off the season, something like that. Cowboys suck too, but they usually choke it later in the season. So I'm taking Cowboys, and this one's hard for me to say it, but I'm taking the Cowboys.
I'm going to go with the home team Cowboys just because I feel like the Giants' defense is not very good. The Cowboys have a better balance between offense and defense. DeMarco Murray having left, we'll see how that pays off. But I'm going to give the Cowboys the edge just because I can't imagine the New York Giants defense performing in perfect silence out there in Dallas. So yeah, I'm going to give the Cowboys the win on this one.
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, I actually think the Giants are going to win, unfortunately.
Actually, it doesn't make a difference to me, but
I saw that Brandon Carr got injured, so I thought that was a huge loss, and he's not that great of a corner either way. He's very mediocre.
He's terrible.
So I guess their second best or some record first best corner, Orlando Scandrick, is gonna try and cover Odell Beckham, who's also overrated but still good, and Victor
Very
Cruz.
athletic player, very athletic player.
Yeah.
Victor Cruz, hopefully we see some of that dancing going on in the end zone.
And I just don't think that they could cover anybody, and their defense, I think, is god-awful.
All right, well, we got 2 Cowboys and 1 for the Giants.
I'm not a Cowboy.
G-man.
Let's see what happens this Sunday in Dallas.
Next up, we got my Eagles at Atlanta to face the Falcons. I'm going to go last. Who do you guys got?
I definitely have the Eagles in this game. Falcons have improved a little bit, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but too good of an offense, too much to contain. Jordan Matthew's going to have a great season. DeMarco Murray is going to pick up where he left off. And people say a lot like the Eagles don't have as good of an O-line as Dallas. I think that they're just a bit under them, probably number 2 or number 3. But yeah, they're going to run wild on the Falcons in a high-scoring game.
I'm going to go with the Eagles as well, just because I think Chip Kelly has gone absolutely insane. He knows what he's doing, but I don't know if these are the exact pieces he wanted for this puzzle. But DeMarco Murray, he's very good. Like you said, if the line holds up, he should do just fine like he did. Plus the Falcons, I mean, the division they had last year, they couldn't even get over 3 or 4 wins.
Yeah.
So, you got a nice, easy challenge the first week. Let's see what happens there in Atlanta this Sunday.
Well, I'm obviously taking my Eagles without a shadow of a doubt. I think we got one of the most studied offenses in the league. We got D. Murray, we got my boy. We hugely upgraded on defense. Our secondary, in my opinion, obviously super biased, but I'm pretty sure most people will agree, is pretty stacked. We got a solid secondary. We got a great front 7. We got a solid, amazing offense. So without a shadow of a doubt, I'm taking my Eagles to win this. No contest.
I think a better word for your offense is untested. Let's see if they can pass the test.
Look, if Sam Bradford stays healthy, we're gonna make a run.
All right. So the final game of the Monday night football schedule and closing out Week 1 is the Minnesota Vikings at the San Francisco 49ers at their new stadium, Levi Stadium, where WrestleMania 31 happened. I'm going to go with the 49ers on this one. They're in their home field. It wasn't really an advantage last year. But Anquan Bolden, one of the most consistent receivers ever, he actually has the longest active streak. And I think it's the NFL record for most seasons with 50-plus catches. And the Vikings being in the condition they're in right now, I think the 49ers take it by a narrow margin. What do you guys think?
I'm going to take the Niners too. I think the Vikings have no defense, barely an offense.
They do have a defense.
Well, it exists, but I can't name you anybody. Chad Greenway, I don't know who you are.
Mike, what do you think of?
Honestly,
this
I
matchup?
think the Vikings are just going to take it outright. I think it's going to be like a 10-point game, and the Vikings are just going to run away from it. I think Bridgewater's going to have a solid game. I think he's going to have a solid season. He's going to have a very, very good season. He's going to be a solid player in the NFL. I think that they've drastically improved over this offseason. And now that their first-round pick from last year, who was actually in the front running like before he got injured for the Defensive Rookie of the Year, Anthony Barr, I think he's going to do really well. And honestly, with Adrian Peterson back, that changes everything, especially with the Niners and the pieces that they lost. Justin Smith, Patrick Willis, and of course Chris Borland, their other linebacker. Even though they have Bowman back,
I'll say this in Minnesota's defense. If Bridgewater can use Peterson to run the clock properly, they have a shot at this game. All right, so since we're here and it's before the season starts, I'd like to get you guys' picks for the Super Bowl, AFC finalist, NFC finalist, and the eventual champion. So we'll start with you, Dave. Who do you think is going to make it?
This year, I'm not sure about the NFC, but the AFC, like you guys said earlier, I feel the Ravens could take it. And Adam Schefter just reported that he feels like my Eagles are going to face the Ravens, not the Raiders. They're not going anywhere. They're getting the first overall pick this year. They're not going anywhere. Any Super Bowl. I could see Eagles, Ravens, Super Bowl. And if Sam Bradford stays healthy, I think we can make a run and take it all.
All right, so a Bird Bowl with an Eagle victory.
Yeah.
What do you have called?
I absolutely do not see the Eagles beating Seattle or Green Bay in the NFC. Those are two teams that I think are going to... that's a heavyweight matchup right there. And my pick from even last year, which I was unfortunately wrong about, but I'm going to stick with it this year, is Seahawks versus Ravens. And I actually have the Ravens coming out on top. They're just too clutch.
All right. I feel the Ravens got robbed last year by the Patriots early on in the playoffs. And I feel like every time that happens, they tend to come back the next year more determined than they were before. Joe Flacco doesn't get enough credit. He does show up when it matters. So that's my AFC pick. My NFC pick is a little bit tougher because the NFC is more even all along. But I'm going to pick a dark horse in the New York Giants. They don't have a great schedule. They don't have a great team. But I feel like if they make the playoffs, it's been a while since I've seen an Eli Manning, just Super Saiyan display of clutchness. So I'm going to go Ravens Giants, and I'm actually going to pick a Ravens victory over the New York Giants in the final. Yeah. All gut on there. So you saw it here first. Those are our predictions. We'll see what happens in 16 weeks. See you then.